So asking what else interests you potentially.
So that's current.
Level of education.
Well, he's full blown.
Teachers look at you. You're the vision guy, right? You're the vision guy. Vision.
First things first, let's, I guess, finding out how is he getting along currently, at what stage is his vision. So you may just go down to get him, acclimated to his phone right now. Let's do some testing, evaluation, and get those results from there. So let's do some big assessment, let him know, I guess, outline for him what VR can assist him with. So we know you're struggling with this, it's brand new to you, but we can help you. So it's not hopeless, we can help you. And basically, opening that line of communication, letting you know what's going on, so that we can, stay on the same page. You're going to have those highs and lows because this is a life-changing event. And this is going to be a permanent situation. So kind of get, into where I feel, I'm being empathetic to you. I can't feel where you are, but I understand. And just kind of start that, just getting the conversation going so you get the dialogue open. I mean, I'm not a counselor, so I'm just kind of guessing here. Exactly. Yeah.
Because he had all those skills that there needs to dispatcher at the facility
His independence from work.
and they don't the company is more specialist. So we just went in and made kind of vision, made a way for him to that person, but he actually got the job.
So that's something you want to find out.
Alright. Okay. I'm gonna say. We're teaching for a week, though. I haven't done much to do.
Our business is just but we might be doing it more. I haven't got that part back.
I mean, I think this denial is already dealt with, and it failed from the CEO. So they've already said you can't do this. So that's already established. Exactly. Because he's mentioned like you can't do that anymore. That was still doing the job. And we were like, yeah. And then just this week, his employer let him know there's a safety issue, which is something that should enter into his mind, and I really should be on the roof with a video standpoint. So now he's in that situation, what do I do now? This is all he's ever done. So now he's got to, no, I think, no, he didn't. I think it was like the employer was watching him and going, this is good. I'm setting myself up to see if this guy falls off the roof kind of situation. So fortunately, it was before an accident happened. Yeah. But that's the being in denial. I can't do this.
Wait, I'm sorry. Okay, all right. It's okay. It's okay. You got you done. Yeah, we're with you, babe. What was it that you what is it that you're using? Sometimes people, they don't have to. I mean, I I was just saying that to you for real, but I was wrong. It scares me. Yeah, I picked them up or I picked them up to you. You want to be safe, you know, you see the rest of yourself forever. Well, yeah. I had a quiet like that too. But tonight's good enough. It's good in some So, I mean, whenever I go to we send it to a local I'm not politically correct. There are
Right. I just gave her going into
I even think about that.
Where's Paul?
I would recommend.
Because you say test, and some people are like, oh, and then excellent, I like this. And what you got, everything you slide, if you're good at it, you're not good at it.
She knows what to say about that. Here I am trying to
See, that would be my fear. It's like, how dare you say I need to see a psychiatrist.
And that's kind of like and then we'll see where we can
You said that I'm impressed. And you versus saying I'm going to work. At this 48, look at you. How dare you, young kid, tell me how you do that?
we need to sign.
All right, we're gonna pull things back together.
Yes. Yeah. Basically, what it is hearing it's being compassionate, everybody got where they are, and giving
It's coming back. The roster's coming back around, so we make sure everybody signs the roster. It's coming back.
All right. I kind of spied on all of you. I'm sure you all saw me kind of moseying around, just kind of listening in. Heard a lot of really good conversation that was happening. People really got into the roles. That was awesome. I think we underestimated how loud this can get when we've got so many people all in one room. And I don't know, I'm assuming that made that a little difficult, a little challenging on the interpreters. And Tasha, I just, so what I want to do now is to hear from you. Because we can see, I mean, it's not easy to get into these roles and figure out, all right, what are they asking me to do, and how is this going to play out? So let's hear from different groups as to, number one, how comfortable it was talking with someone with vision loss, or how uncomfortable it was, what made it uncomfortable if it did. Let's talk about what your experiences were just doing this exercise.
Next time, can you provide some tissue?
Tissues?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Ken had me crying over here.
Oh, well, you're not the first one to share with me today that there were tears coming down.
Tears.
Yeah, yeah. It can be an emotional experience.
Wait, you took that serious?
Yeah. I did.
No, I was just.
You got me.
She was a tough client.
So you had tears because she was so tough.
Yeah, she was a little tough.
Okay. Well,
She was real, probably.
others share with me there were tears coming down when they took the simulators off. So you know, so for different people, they do experience it in a very emotional way. What else?
It's just like, this is Ingrid. Just feeling the support, just being on that other side from being a counselor and trying to explain how you feel about what's going on in your life and all of that, and making sure just coming in and having people that are going to support you and say, you know, and say we can figure this out. We're going to help you, basically. So that's kind of what I felt for my group, because I was the person who was coming in for an intake.
Right.
And this is Erica, and it was very important to kind of look at the whole picture. So this person is newly blind, has no idea what they were going to do. They were worried about how to pay their bills. In addition to going back, like they were saying that they needed to go to work because of the bill payment. So it's like, how can we address not just the fact that you're newly blind and you know, needing the retraining and all that, but the immediate need of how do I pay my bills? How do I keep food in the house?
And they were giving good resources, like
Yeah,
you need to apply for unemployment, you need to apply for, you know, Social Security, you've been working 20 years, you know, all of that. So that was really good.
Yeah, very good point. Finances is a big deal. It's a big deal. I heard it coming from the back. Kenya brought it up while I was back there. It's like, how much is this going to cost me? And then there was a question of, well, do we know? Is there a financial? Does it? You know, do the assessments cost money? Because we have the financial need assessment that's done, and some things cost money and some things don't. Well, I can tell you that all our assessments do not cost the client anything. And I can tell you that orientation and mobility services, vision rehab therapy, technology access training, personal adjustment counseling to blindness, all of those are exempt from financial need. Doesn't make a difference if you've got $1 million coming in. You're exempt from financial need for those basic services. Those are all adjustment services. And as you know, in the exemptions, those are all exempted. So we can put that person to ease right away. Now, when it comes to certain types of equipment and that sort of thing, that might mean there's a partnership. What else?
I just have a question. It seems like some of the things that clients actually face too is the timeline on when those services going to take effect. If they actually just get blind that time, you know, and then that's a real hit for them. And when is the services going to take effect once they ask and call for VR's help?
Right, good question. And I heard some conversation somewhere going on about that in terms of, you know, I'm not ready to go to work. And the person put them at ease saying, that's okay, because it's most important for you to get used to your home environment first, and we'll take it in small steps. So that was perfect in terms of guiding the person and putting those fears aside, because that's the primary thing they have. They don't know what to expect. They don't know what they need. All they know is they need help to move on, and you did a wonderful job guiding that person through that. Any other comments or? So it's really important to know policy, but it's more important to have compassion and to listen and to ask. Because sometimes you can be, you know, and especially in these kind of like play environments where we're just trying to figure out what we're supposed to do, that can get a little difficult and challenging. But just learn to ask some basic questions. Get the person to talk. Because most people want to tell their story, and you'll learn a lot by just listening. Find out, why did you call today? Well, somebody told me that you were the agency that could help. What kind of help do you need? So, because then you can kind of filter out, you know, are they calling because they think we're an agency that's going to go grocery shopping for them, right? Because some people think that. And so you can set the stage and set the parameters where you're explaining, no, we're a training agency where we can help to train you to become independent and to go back to work. And so just because if you don't set those parameters up in a nice way at the very beginning, they might be thinking that you're going to be sending them Meals on Wheels, or that you're going to send somebody to help them do their groceries, right? If I can't provide you a list, but if I just tell you what I need from the grocery store, will you go pick them up, right? Well, that's outside of our scope of doing it. Shirley, you have any other?
No, I just wanted to let y'all know, too, with going back again to some of the resources we're providing you all. In there, too, you'll find where there are some courses that are available to clients that are for free through the Hadley School. And it can help them and their family members to start learning, you know, about different rehab training programs. They also offer like an introduction to Braille classes. They offer adjustment to blindness, and then also they have a keyboarding course, a whole just catalog of different training opportunities that are available that can get that person, you know, when you were talking about, you know, how long is it going to take to get somebody here to be able to start that training. This way, the person can begin some of the initial pieces, or at least learning about it, learning about their eye condition, and it can also supplement the training that they're getting from their rehab professional.
This is Raj. How did you say we access the Hadley School training?
It's on the flash drive, and then again that password is sensory with a capital S, exclamation point. And then let me give y'all my phone number, and I know Paula and John are going to give you theirs as well. So my work cell is 404-783-3545. So if you have questions, if you want to staff cases, if you want to ask a blind person a question, you can give me a call.
And this is Paul. My number is 770-500-9160.
And this is John. Mine's 229.
Hold on one second.
Okay. John Crawford. 229-873-6288. And I'll be happy to answer any questions or whatever you guys need.
And your company and
My company is called Tactile TACTILE, travel. TILE, tactile travel. And it should be in the system.
So, this is Roger again. John mentioned that he handles negative and everything south of us. What do people do in the metro or northern areas for TAC?
We just have different, either CRPs or providers. But again, the same thing is true for the northern areas where our providers are scarce. Mhm.
Yeah, oftentimes we have to have them travel to the individual. We have an O&M provider in Alabama that oftentimes will come in to Georgia to provide orientation, mobility, skills training. And so we're always looking for new resources, but in our client management system, we have listings of providers. I maintain one, so if you're in a certain area and you're needing a provider, if you just contact us, we'll help you connect with the providers that are available in your area.
And I'm working on reaching out so we can grow that list and have more providers available to us.
James
So
had a
we're going to
question.
be going, looking at our neighboring states to see, who can cross over state lines and come in and help out as well.
Janice?
It's more of a comment, but in our scenario, certainly Social Security benefits came up as an issue, and it would be really helpful, at least for me, to have more information about how Social Security views blindness in terms of approval for benefits.
We definitely want to have Adrian
I
be
would love
part
to
of our
have more
training.
information about that so that I can, effectively counsel somebody.
Adrian, since you're with us,
Yeah.
stand up and tell us a little bit about yourself and your group and what you do, and give a phone number.
Okay, Adrian Williams, and I am the benefit navigator, manager, supervisor, whatever you want to call me. Prior to coming to VR, I worked for disability adjudication for 13 years. I was one of the people that put people onto benefits. So to kind of answer a question regarding how they view vision, and some of the literature, and I think they said this on the video that we watched, Social Security uses it the same way. They look at the best corrective vision in the better eye. So if you've got someone that has perfect vision in one eye and is blind in the other one, they're not considered blind. They're visually impaired, but they're not blind. So they have to be at a point where if you've got total vision loss, vision is is very restricted. So they will do, like, again, visually impaired versus stat blind. Stat blind, the difference from the Social Security standpoint has to do with earnings. When they look at somebody who is stat blind, they're allowed to earn more if they get SSDI than someone who is not stat blind. So the earning potential is greater for somebody that's considered to be blind. On the SSDI side, the same thing. When they're considered blind, there are a lot of work incentives available for somebody who is blind versus just visually impaired. They can write off a whole lot of things as what they call blind work expenses than somebody who is not blind. So there are advantages to how they do that. So for someone who's going into Social Security to apply for benefits, they will send them for a visual exam. But if they've got, especially when you're talking about progressive conditions, and it's real important in those situations that for somebody, say, with diabetic retinopathy, they may start gradually losing their vision, so they may be declared visually impaired and eligible for benefits but not blind, and when they become blind, that designation needs to change. So even though they're receiving benefits currently, they need to go back to Social Security when they lose their vision, because again, the benefits being blind versus visually impaired change from that standpoint. So it's all about getting information, especially when somebody has a progressive disorder, to get those records, turn those records in to Social Security. Keep their original, do not give them your originals. Keep your originals, give them a copy, because Social Security system, and not to knock what we have here, but they are so far more advanced than we are technology-wise on their system. And to give an example, I'm going to use Grady as an example. When I first was a baby adjudicator, trying to get records out of Grady was like sending your request to a black hole. You weren't going to get anything out of them. A few years ago, Grady went electronic. came into the 20th century. So management changed, their viewpoint changed, so they recognized the importance of what they call HIT, Health Information Technology, Electronic Records Express is what they have. So it got to a point before I left DAS where we could send a request electronically to them in the morning and by noon have records back, which is something you never got from Grady. So when people get benefits, there's a situation to where a lot of the holdup on that side is getting the medical records. So from Grady, it's almost instantaneous, because I could have a case that I got today. If, say in a cancer case, I got the records tomorrow, I could allow somebody in 24 hours. Years ago, I may never get those records out of Grady. And with them in those situations, they can't do the invasive testing needed to find cancer. But the records are there, I can't get them. As a consumer and someone, you're really the owner of your records. So anybody applying for benefits in Georgia, records are free. Do not let them think I've got to pay to get my medical records. They just have to say I'm applying for Social Security disability benefits. Those records are free and they have to give them to them. So they want to charge you so much per page. It doesn't matter. If they got 1,000 pages, they're free. Okay? That's the law in Georgia. Okay? And they get those records and turn those over to Social Security. Having those records where it shows a progression of the disease in terms of blindness. I'm here now. 6 months later, I'm here, and as Shirley said, over the years, it changed from here to here. So having those records to produce when they need to do that. When they come up for a CDR, continuing disability review, that's when every so many years, they're gonna look at the person to see has the condition changed. If somebody's blind, they're not looking to see, are you still blind? What they wanna find out is, are you basically still alive and getting your check? Versus somebody else is collecting that check and you're no longer here. That's kind of what they're touching base. So they're not reaching out to say, is the person still blind? That's not what they're doing. Or in the case where it's progressive, has it gotten worse? What's going on from that situation? So that designation can change. So it's all about getting those medical records. For the kids that are in schools, parents keeping those records. If there's testing done in the school, they can include those records when they apply for benefits. And again, just getting the information to the adjudicator, being responsive when they request information from you, because they will close that case for what they call failure to cooperate. I've called, I've sent letters, I'm not getting a response. They're not going to hold on to that case forever. They're going to close it, failure to cooperate, and they got to start all over again. So just a couple little tidbits, and I know I'm speed talking. That's the Louisiana part of me coming out from that standpoint. But I'm more than willing to answer questions when. Oh, hush, Raj. My phone number, and I have my office on forwarded to the cell, is 470-426-1847. 470-426-1847. And with me, I've got 2 members of my team. Ladies, raise your hands. I got Eric over here in Augusta, and I got Ms. Mercer Drake over there in the big city of Reidsville. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrienne. As you can tell, this is a whole course in and of itself, and probably 2 or 3 courses, right? And so, but I want to make sure that y'all know this is going to come up. If it hasn't, it did here. It'll probably come up when someone calls you and you talk about work. Probably one of the first things that you're going to hear, because they probably went through 2 years of trying to get benefits, and they finally got their Medicare, and they don't want to lose that because they are relying on those benefits to purchase their medications, to make sure that they can keep their glaucoma under control or whatever it is. And so it's really, really, really important that right up front, so that we can alleviate those fears right away, that we get them connected with one of the benefit specialists so that they can explain that to them and put those fears aside.
One thing before you go. One other thing, and if you don't take anything away from what I say about benefits, and this is a question we get all the time, how much can I make before it affects my check? Yes. Forget that question. Please take that out of your psyche.